Hey everyone, Mr. Macintosh here, and Apple just released the first major update for macOS Sequoia 15.1. This is a highly anticipated release that includes Apple Intelligence AI features, and we're going to go over all the information that you're going to need to know about that. Plus, we're going to test it on our Intel Mac and our Apple Silicon Mac, and we're also going to go over a quick sneak peek of OpenCore Legacy Patcher for unsupported Macs. Let's jump in and get started. Apple released a full slew of updates today that covers all of their products, and in a different move, they released them right after the launch that was released not as an event, but as a newsroom release with a YouTube video that shows all the information about the new iMac. And as soon as that was done, then they dropped all the updates. So they dropped, obviously, Sequoia 15.1, macOS Sonoma 14.7.1, and security update for Ventura 13.7.1. We've got iOS 18.1, iPadOS 18.1, and then they also did a security update for 17.7.1, watchOS 11.1, tvOS 18.1, HomePodOS 18.1, and visionOS 2.1. Our demonstration Mac for the 15.1 update is a MacBook Air M1 2020. I picked this unit because it's one of the slowest Apple Silicon devices, and the same thing with the Intel 2018 Mac Mini that we're going to go over too is one of the slowest, oldest Macs that is still supported by macOS Sequoia. So to be able to get the update, all we need to do is go into System Settings, and you should see the one here for the update, and then go into Software Update is available, or check General to Software Update, and you should see the 15.1 update right in here. If you want to be able to see more information about it, you can click on more info, and instead of seeing just the update information about Sequoia, it is showing all of the information about the general Sequoia upgrade itself, so you don't really get to see some of the fixes in here. The size of the update for macOS Sequoia 15.0.1 to 15.1 is 2.93 gigabytes for our Apple Silicon device. Now we'll click on Update Now and Agree, and we'll type in our password and OK. Now let's hop over to our Intel Mac Mini. Okay, we're back to our T2 Intel Mac Mini, and we can see the size of that update from 15.01 to 15.1 is only 1.83 gigabytes, so a lot smaller than the Apple Silicon update. Let's click on Update Now and Agree. And there it goes, downloading now. We'll let this prepare and we'll be right back. Okay, we are back up after the update for 15.1. What is the build version? It is 24B83. Now this is important. I always go over this because if you are in previous beta versions, especially this time, because we had an RC1 and an RC2 release candidate. So 83 is the second release, or RC2. If you're on RC1, you have to install the 15.1 83 release to be able to be on the latest public release. So how long did it take to install the 15.1 update? I always keep track of this. As you can see here, with the 15.01 update, it was about 9 minutes. So since this is a large feature release update, it took about 14 minutes from preparing start to install finish. If you just installed the update because you had automatic updates installed, it was only 6 minutes from start to finish to login window. How long did it take the 15.1 update to install on our Intel Mac Mini T2? Well, as you can see from 15.01, first of all, it takes a lot longer than the Apple Silicon Mac. We can see, again, because we're on a larger feature release, it took about 25 minutes total to prepare and install. If you already had it prepared, about 17 minutes. What about the Apple Silicon firmware? Well, that was updated to 11.881.41.5. Same thing with the iBoot. What about the Intel T2 BridgeOS? That was updated 22.16.11.0.7.2. But on the T2 firmware, that has remained the same at 2069.40.20 throughout the entire release since macOS Sequoia 15.0. Safari was also updated to 18.1, 2619.28.11.10. Keeping with Safari, Apple has not yet released separate Safari 18.1 downloads for macOS Sonoma or macOS Ventura. As soon as it does, I will put this on my Safari install database. Apple did release a Install Assistant full installer for macOS Sequoia 15.1, and they also did release an IPSW restore file for Apple Silicon devices for 15.1. Now let's talk about the security content of the macOS Sequoia 15.1 update. We've got 48 separate vulnerabilities that are patched in this update, and this is one of the bigger ones. Not the biggest yet, but one of the bigger ones. And we also have 2 WebKit fixes that are listed here at the bottom for Safari. So we got a bunch of fixes on the security side. Now before we get into Apple Intelligence, I want to go over some of the new features of 15.1. The first thing is there's a new for AirPods Pro 2, there's a new hearing protection feature that helps users minimize exposure to loud environmental noise across listening modes. And this is available in the United States and Canada, now available on macOS Sequoia 15.1 and iOS 18.1. The next thing is new low power mode for being able to save your battery and make it last longer. Now, in the past, we've had to go into the battery settings and then toggle that on and off. So when we go into the battery section now, you can see that low power mode right here. So you would have to go in here and click it on. You would be able to have it on battery or only on with the power adapter or always. But let's say you have it on only on battery. Now what'll happen is it'll actually change the battery icon to yellow, and it'll give you a new toggle. So let's disconnect the battery right now, and you'll see it go to yellow. So that gives you a visual representation that we're on low power mode. Now, if we just turn that off, it will go back to the standard black. So that can tell you right away what mode it is in. But when we have it on battery and you don't want to have to go into system settings all the time, now you can just toggle the menu bar and then toggle it off right now to be able to turn it off if you need to be able to have full power. So it's a really nice new feature. The next one has to do with iPhone mirroring application, where you can mirror your phone on your Mac with iOS 18 or later, and you have to be able to be signed on with your Apple iCloud account on the Mac and on your iPhone. The iPhone mirroring feature is actually included with your T2 Mac, so it's not like this feature is only required, like for example Apple Intelligence for M1 and above. But the new feature is actually able to drop files from your phone and input them into your Mac, and this was not available in 15.0, 15.01. So for example, if you have the Files app open on your phone, you can just take a screenshot from your desktop, drag it right over into the files, and it's on your phone, and vice versa. Now that we got some of those new features out of the way, let's focus on Apple Intelligence. This is what we've been waiting for. And let's first talk about the requirements. You have to have an M1 2020 Mac or newer. That means all the Intel Macs, T2 Macs are unfortunately out of luck. That's unfortunate because, for example, I think like the 2019 Mac Pro, there's no way that wouldn't be able to run it. So how do we enable Apple Intelligence? The first thing we need to do is go into System Settings, and then we'll see a new Apple Intelligence section in system settings. We already see are ready for Apple Intelligence, so you'll get notifications, like for example if you jump on the wait list right now and then you do get accepted. So if we click on Apple Intelligence in Siri, we can see that we have the option to be able to turn on Apple Intelligence right away because we already had it tested and used on this machine and it's already enabled. And the same thing will happen if we click on ready for Apple Intelligence. It brings us right here and shows us the new pane to tell us about Apple Intelligence. Time to experience the new personal intelligence system. It includes writing and summarization, which will allow you to enhance your writing and summarize notifications, mail, messages, and more. This also is the start of a new era for Siri. Siri is more natural, contextually relevant, and personal to you. It's built for privacy, powerful intelligence without sharing your data with Apple. It's still in beta, so until this beta is removed, it's not in full mode where everything's working 100% properly, so that's one thing to keep track of. Let's click on continue, and this is also a brand new feature of Apple Intelligence to summarize your notifications. Apple Intelligence can summarize your notifications, and it gives you a really cool animation how it shows multiple notifications that are from the same application, puts them into one, and gives you a number 3, 4, 5, or 6. And you can choose which apps you use for the summarization. It's a really nice feature. So we're going to click summarize all notification previews. Siri is an intelligence assistant that helps you find information to get things done. Just speak or type a request using your own words. You can see the Apple Intelligence logo right here, and you can see how it flashes up here. That's the new Siri with Apple Intelligence. We'll click on continue. To speak to Siri, we'll click on continue. Improve Siri with Apple or not, we'll click on not now. And there we go. All of the features open up for Apple Intelligence. We've got a toggle for on and off. We've got the new Siri request. We have listen for. You can turn on listen for Hey Siri or just Siri. And then you have the keyboard shortcut, which you can click command twice. So we'll try that. And there's our new Siri shortcut. With this Siri base shortcut, press the command twice to enable Siri, and we will enable this shortcut. So let's try it again. Command, and there's our Siri. What is the weather in New York? 50 degrees. Now that's a simple softball, one that any old Siri could do, but we want to just check it out and see if it works right off the bat. We also see that we've got a toggle right here that we can click at any time. You can change the language, you can change the voice, you can delete the Siri history in the dictation history, and you can also go into the Siri responses for the voice feedback, and you can click on the dictation and privacy, learn from this application in order to make suggestions across all of these applications. So that gives you a quick overview of the settings in Apple Intelligence. Now, if you just enabled this for the first time, you'll have to click on join the waitlist. And this is only for now, and this is only because Apple Intelligence is in beta. There's been a lot of people already talking about, hey, why does it take so long to be able to be accepted to this? It doesn't take that long at all. And I've tested this multiple times today, and it only takes anywhere between 15 minutes all the way to an hour, or maybe even an afternoon. And then most people are seeing that. Now, if you're seeing a major delay, maybe that's just something that you might see just for your machine, but hopefully you can test this out right away. Next, let's talk about one of actually my most anticipated features for Apple Intelligence is writing tools to be able to help you proofread, summarize, and write better passages, paragraphs, sentences, or anything you're doing with writing. Let's take a look at the proofreaded text piece first. So I've set up two different demos, one with Safari that doesn't have the built-in button yet for Apple Intelligence writing tools. What's nice is Notes does. I wrote something just quickly misspelled and screwed up here, not capitalized. We need to fix this sentence, and before you can just right click and fix these, but it doesn't do anything else. One way you can do that is that we do have our button here to show the writing tools, and it immediately goes right in the sentence. But what you can also do is you can double click and highlight this, and then look what happens when you're hovering over it. You have the Apple Intelligence Writing Tools button, and you can do that. So for example, if you're writing everything's fine except this one here, you can highlight this sentence here, and then you can get that little button you can click. Or you can click on right click, and then you can get your writing tools, and you can do the same thing if you know exactly what you want to do. But you can see how long that takes compared to just pressing the button to be able to get the menu to come up. All we want to do is be able to proofread this. So we can click on the proofread button here, and then it gives us a immediate fix sentence. We fix the capitalization on two letter here, the I and the A, and then the how, fix baseball, and fix the ticket with a question mark. And then when you're done, all you need to do is done. It tells you how many changes it made. You can also revert back to what it was before. And when you're done, all you need to do is click on done. So that's something that I'm really excited about. That'll help me with my writing. And when you're in an app that does not have those tools, which is actually Safari, which is unfortunate right now. I've got the same thing here in Google, and if we highlight this, it does not give us that button. I'm hoping in another release it will do that. So to get to that, we can right click on there and go immediately to Write Tools, and you can do a proofread on that, and it'll immediately try to proofread that sentence. How do I get baseball ticket? We can click on replace, and there it is to be able to fix that. Next up is Smart Replies and Mail Summary. MacRumors gives a really nice summary of this new feature. And you can see the Mail app here with the Smart Reply. It can basically summarize the email and give a quick response. And it allows you to quickly distill the content of incoming messages and provides a concise overviews at a glance. This feature also extends to multiple messages and notifications in your mailbox, where brief summaries replace the first few lines of each message. And the Mail prioritizes time-sensitive communications by automatically elevating them to the top of your mailbox. The next feature I want to talk about is the image cleanup tool. This is a really useful feature if you want to be able to remove something from a picture. So all we need to do is upload the photo to the Photos application. Then once the photo's up here, all we need to do is click the edit button. Then we want to be able to click the cleanup tab up at the top. If we want to be able to remove, like for example, let's say we want to remove this guy from the picture, all we need to do is click, brush, or circle what we want to remove. So let's click and circle this guy like this and see if we can get him removed. There he is, he's gone. Pretty quick for the Photos app to be able to remove different objects in the cleanup tool. And all you need to do is click on done, and that's it. The next thing I wanted to cover was like a transcription summary or an article summary. Let's say you wanted to make a tweet on this Verge article on the new M4 iMac. All you need to do is highlight the text that you want to be able to summarize, click on Apple Intelligence, and then do a summary. You can also do key points, list, or table. Let's click a summary of the article. We'll give it a second to process that. And there's a couple sentence summary. Apple's new M4 iMac features an 8-core CPU with up to 10-core GPU with a 24-inch 4.5K display and USB-C charging ports. It is available in 7 colors and starts at $12.99 with a higher-end model supporting up to 2 external K displays. So that's a pretty decent summary of the article, except maybe the charging ports. Like, I feel like it could say, like, it kind of skips over the fact that the higher-end model has Thunderbolt 4 ports. But again, it's a decent summary if you're just trying to get some of the main points of the article. And it is going to get better over time. I like this feature. The last one I wanted to go over was reduce interruptions. You can click on focus, and then you can see the new Apple Intelligence reduce interruptions feature. Click on this here, and you can see some of the new options. And you can select the intelligent breakthrough and silencing. When reduce interruptions is active, intelligently allow important notifications to interrupt you and silence the notifications determined not to be important. Any notifications specifically allowed or silenced will always be allowed or silenced. So you can allow for certain people, and then you can allow certain apps. For, let's say you only wanted something from your brother or sister or your spouse or your mother or father. That's where you can put it in the allowed people, and this is really great, especially like if there's a family emergency and you don't want to be woken up in the middle of the night because maybe your friend Tom's drunk and he did a funny thing on Twitter or TikTok, right? You don't want to see that. Well, maybe the next day, right? But that's a perfect example of where the reduced interruptions can really come through and help you get a good night's sleep or just not be bothered by the constant notifications on your phone. And finally, I want to talk about some of the prompts that we can give the new Siri with Apple Intelligence that we could not get, for example, with the old Siri on Intel. What it has now is it has the tips and user guide built into it. It can't do certain things. Like if I wanted to turn on low power mode, it's not going to be able to do that. Turn on low power mode. We can finish that out by hitting tab and hit enter. And well, obviously it can't do it, but the fact that it says it's not available on this Mac, that shows that it's still in beta. Low power mode is available on this machine. I just showed you that earlier. So we got a couple things to work on. Let's do something simple like how to change the screensaver. And that's how you can tell that it's using the user guide directly from Apple support. So that's a nice thing that the new improved Siri can give you. Now, that's why I wanted to give a snapshot of the new Apple Intelligence features live like this, trying to do these things. And some of them weren't working right, like the low power mode or some of the other things that we went over. It's good to be able to see this now because it shows that it's still a work in progress. That's why Apple says it's in beta. But I'm impressed with what I am seeing so far, especially with the writing tools. I'm definitely going to be using the writing tools is one of my main features moving forward here, and I think that you'll like them too. Let me know in the comments what you think about these features so far. Are you thinking that's something that you'll be using? Do you like one or the other? Let me know. Apple also updated the what's new for enterprise in macOS Sequoia. This is for businesses, education, and government, and they added some new MDM flags for writing tools, preventing prompts, and preventing users from enabling media sharing in other system settings, and some other fixes that were added in there that are really nice for enterprise users. Now, what about the other features that you've seen in iOS 18.1? For example, Genmoji and Image Playground. We also have ChatGTP integration for Siri and writing tools. Now, these aren't going to be available until 15.2, and they're already in the 15.2 beta, and we will cover that once 15.2 comes out. Now let's take a look at the Geekbench 6 benchmark results. On 15.01, we had a 2385 and an 8793. We've got a 2360 and an 8838, which is almost very close to a match on our 15.01, and that's what we want to see. Now on our Mac Mini on 15.01, we had a 1560 on our single core and a 6700 even on our multi, and once we upgraded it to 15.1, we got a 1531 and a 6636. Now let's take a sneak peek at my OpenCore Legacy Patcher for Unsupported Mac update video that's coming out tomorrow that will go over all the entire fleet of Macs for 2.02 and macOS 15.1. I've already have a couple machines that have upgraded to 15.1. I haven't seen any issues yet on those particular machines. We got our Mac Pro 2013, we got our Mac Mini 2014, we even got our 2010 polycarbonate MacBook that upgraded just fine, but we're going to do the whole fleet tomorrow, so make sure to tune into that one for your unsupported Mac. So do I recommend installing the 15.1 macOS Sequoia update on your Mac? This is a good one because the last update, 15.01, I did not recommend installing that update on your machine because it only had specific enterprise type changes to some network security extensions. So it's not always a yes recommendation. Why waste time when the update doesn't even have anything to do with your Mac and doesn't even have any security updates installed? That was 15.01, but 15.1 is the first major release of macOS Sequoia. There's a bunch of stuff fixed. It includes huge features like Apple Intelligence if you have an Apple Silicon Mac, and there's also 50 separate security fixes, and I'm always big on security, so I definitely recommend installing the Sequoia 15.1 update on your supported Mac Intel and on your Apple Silicon Mac. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you're going to install 15.1 on your Mac, and don't forget to tune in tomorrow for the unsupported Mac with OpenCore Legacy Patcher and 15.1. We'll catch you in the next video. Thanks.